look fine. You go to the gym. You eat decent food. You sleep okay. You are not overweight. You do not smoke. You have no chest pain. And yet, statistically, one of you watching this right now will have a stroke before the age of 50. Not a warning, not a slow decline, a stroke. Sudden, devastating, life-changing in a single second. And the most terrifying part? Your body gave you every signal. You just did not know what to look for. Today, I am going to walk you through exactly why perfectly healthy-looking people drop dead or get permanently disabled from a stroke before 50. I am going to show you the hidden causes nobody talks about, the daily habits quietly setting the stage, the warning signs people laugh off, and what is actually happening inside your blood vessels right now while you sit here feeling completely fine. Stay with me, because this video might be the most important thing you watch this year. Let us start with the one thing most people get completely wrong about strokes. They think strokes are an old person's problem, a 70-year-old, a 75-year-old, someone with a long history of high blood pressure and bad health decisions. That is the picture people have in their mind. But here is the reality. Stroke rates in people between the ages of 18 and 50 have been rising every single year for the last 2 decades. Young professionals, athletes, mothers of 3, men in their 30s who ran a 5K last weekend. They wake up one morning, they feel a little off, and within hours, they cannot speak. They cannot move one side of their body. They cannot remember their children's names. This is not rare anymore. This is happening every single day. And the reason is something happening silently inside your arteries right now that you cannot feel, cannot see, and most doctors will not check until it is too late. So what exactly is a stroke? Here's what happens inside your body in the seconds before everything changes. Your brain is the most demanding organ in your body. It uses 20% of all the oxygen you breathe. It needs a constant, uninterrupted flow of blood every single second you are alive. Now imagine that blood supply gets cut off. Either a clot travels to your brain and blocks a blood vessel. That is called an ischemic stroke. Or a blood vessel in your brain bursts. That is a hemorrhagic stroke. In both cases, the brain cells in that area start dying within minutes. Not hours, minutes. Every single minute a stroke goes untreated, you lose approximately 1.9 million brain cells. That is not a metaphor. That is the actual number from research. And here is the cruelest part. The brain does not feel pain. So while millions of your brain cells are dying, you might just feel a slight headache, a little confusion. Maybe your arm feels a bit weak. You think it will pass. You lie down. You tell yourself you are just tired, and the window to save your brain closes. Now, let us talk about why this is happening to young, healthy-looking people specifically. And I want you to listen very carefully here, because this is the part that will change how you see your own daily life. The number one silent killer setting up young strokes is something called chronic inflammation. You cannot feel inflammation. It has no obvious symptoms at the beginning, but deep inside your arteries, inflammation is slowly making the walls of your blood vessels weaker, thicker, and more likely to form clots or rupture. And what causes this inflammation in young people? Processed food. Not junk food, processed food. The meal prep containers from the grocery store, the protein bars, the flavored yogurt, the pasta sauces, the bread you buy every week thinking it is fine. These foods are loaded with refined seed oils, hidden sugars, and chemical additives that your immune system treats like an enemy every single time you eat them, every single meal. Your body mounts a low-grade immune response, day after day, year after year. Your arteries are paying the price in silence. The second hidden cause of young strokes is something most people are living with right now and have absolutely no idea: high blood pressure. Now, before you say, "I get my blood pressure checked," listen to this. Blood pressure is not a stable number. The reading you got at your last doctor visit, which you had 3 years ago, tells you almost nothing about what your blood pressure looks like at 2 a.m., or during a stressful workday, or after that argument with someone you love. Blood pressure can spike violently throughout the day, stressing and weakening blood vessel walls, and your annual checkup will never catch it. This is called masked hypertension. You walk into the clinic calm, your reading looks fine, you walk out. Your blood pressure spends the rest of the day in dangerous territory, and every spike, every single spike, is like a tiny hammer hitting the inside of your blood vessels. After years of those tiny hammer blows, something breaks. The third cause is the one young people dismiss the most: stress. Not the stress you feel and release, the stress you carry silently, the kind you have normalized, the kind that lives in your shoulders, your jaw, your chest, and you have convinced yourself is just how life feels now. When you are under chronic stress, your body floods itself with cortisol and adrenaline. These are not gentle chemicals. They constrict your blood vessels. They raise your blood pressure. They make your blood more likely to clot. Your body evolved to produce these chemicals for short bursts, to run from a predator, then recover, then return to baseline. But modern stress never ends. The work pressure, the financial pressure, the relationship tension, the phone notifications, the news cycle, your body never gets the signal that the danger is gone. So cortisol stays elevated. Your blood vessels stay constricted. Your blood keeps clotting more easily than it should for months, for years, for a decade. And one morning, the pressure becomes too much and something in your brain gives way. Now, let us talk about the warning signs, because this is where lives are saved. The problem is, stroke warning signs in young people are not dramatic. They are subtle. And because they are subtle, people ignore them. They explain them away, and they die or get disabled because of that decision. Here is what you need to know: the sudden onset of a headache that feels like nothing you have ever felt before. People describe it as being hit in the head with a baseball bat. If that ever happens to you, you do not wait. You do not sleep it off. You call emergency services immediately. Sudden numbness or weakness on one side of your body. One arm feels heavy. One side of your face droops slightly. You notice it in the mirror and tell yourself you slept wrong. Sudden confusion. You are in a meeting and suddenly you cannot follow what is being said. Not because you are tired, but because the words are not making sense. Sudden vision problems. One eye goes blurry. You see double for a moment. You blink and it goes away and you forget it ever happened. Sudden trouble speaking. You go to say a sentence and the words come out wrong. You stumble, you stammer, you laugh it off. These are not small things. These are your brain screaming at you that something is wrong. And there is an easy way to remember them. The acronym is FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call emergency services. If you see any of these in yourself or someone near you, you do not hesitate. You do not drive to the hospital. You call emergency services and you tell them you think it is a stroke. Time is brain. Every minute matters. Now, here is what I want you to do after this video. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Check your blood pressure. Not at the doctor, buy a home monitor. They are inexpensive and they will show you what your blood pressure actually looks like across different times of the day. Look at what you are eating every morning, because the inflammation that is quietly building in your arteries right now started with the food choices that felt harmless for years. Take your stress seriously, not as a personality trait, not as a badge of how hard you work, as a genuine physical threat to the blood vessels inside your brain. Tell someone you love about FAST right now, today. Send them this video, because the biggest reason young people die from strokes is not because the warning signs were absent. It is because nobody around them knew what to look for. You looked healthy. The person in the gym looked healthy. The runner looked healthy. The one who did not make it home, they looked healthy too. The difference between them and the ones who survived was not luck. It was knowledge. It was catching the signs. It was acting fast enough. You now have that knowledge. Use it.